ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। ॐ अखण्डमण्डलाकारं व्याप्तं येन चराचरम् तत्पदं दर्शितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। Shivam friends, today we will be taking chapter 61 of Sthiti Khand and in this chapter the Rajas and Sattva qualities to be desired is discussed. And Vasishta is continuing. Those who are born with the nature of Rajas Sattva remain highly pleased in the world and are as happy on their faces as the face of the sky with the serene light of moonbeams. Their faces are not darkened by melancholy but are as bright as the face of heaven. They are never exposed to troubles, like lotus flowers are exposed to night frost. They never deviate from their even nature, but remain unmoved like immovable bodies. They persist in their course of beneficence, like trees yielding their fruit to all. Ram, the Rajas and Sattva natured man, gets his liberation in the same manner as the disk of the moon receives its ambrosial beams. He never forsakes his mildness, even when he is in trouble. He remains as cool as the moon, even in her eclipse. He shines with the lovely virtue of fellow feeling to all. Blessed are the righteous, who are always even tempered, gentle, and as handsome as forest trees beset by vines with clusters of blossoms. They keep in their bounds, just as the sea remains within its boundaries, and they are meek with their even tempers, like yourself. Hence, they never desire or wish anything in the world. You must always walk in the way of the godly and not run to the sea of dangers. You should go in the life this way without pain or sorrow. Your soul will be as elevated in the Rajasic and Sattvic states by avoiding the ways of the ungodly and considering well with the teachings of the scriptures. Consider well in your mind the frail acts that are attended with various evils. Do those acts which are good for the three worlds, both in their beginning and end, and forever to eternity. The intelligent, because they are free from narrow views, think that false mental images, the offspring of ignorance, are dangerous to them and no otherwise. For the enlightenment of your understanding, you should always remember and say, O Lord, what am I, and where does this multiplicity of worlds come from? By diligently considering these subjects in the society of the wise and righteous, you must neither be engaged in your ceremonial acts nor continue in your unnecessary practices of rituals. You must look at the disconnectedness of all the things in the world from you and seek to associate with the righteous, like peacock yearning for rainy clouds. Our inner egoism, outer body, and the external world are the three seas surrounding us one after the other. Only right reasoning provides the raft to cross over them and bring us under the light of truth. By refraining to think of the beauty and firmness of your exterior form, you will come to perceive the internal light of your consciousness, hidden under your egoism, like thin connecting thread concealed under a string of pearls. That eternally existent and infinitely extended blessed thread connects and stretches through all beings. Like pearls strung with a thread, All things are linked together by the latent Spirit of God. The empty space of divine consciousness contains the whole universe, just like the emptiness of air contains the glorious sun, and like the hollow of the earth contains an ant. The same air fills the cavity of every pot on earth, so it is the one and the same consciousness and Spirit of God which fills, enlivens, and sustains all bodies in every place. As the ideas of sweet and sour are the same in all men, so the consciousness of the intellect is alike in all mankind. There being only one real substance in existence, it is tangible error for ignorant folks to say this one exists and the other perishes or vanishes away. There is no such thing at any time, Ram, which, being once produced, is resolved into nothing. All these are neither realities nor unrealities, only representations or reflections of the real world. Whatever is visible and of temporary existence is without any perceptible substantiality of its own. It is only an object of our fallacy because and beyond which is no existence. Why, O Ram, should anybody suffer himself to be deluded by these unrealities? All these accompaniments here and are no better than causes of our delusion. The accompaniment of unrealities tends only to our delusion here. If they are taken for realities, to what good they tend other than to delude us the more? This much was there in the 61st chapter, and in the 62nd chapter, Vasishtha exhorts Ram how to conduct himself. The diligent and rational inquirer after truth has a natural tendency to rely on the company of wise and well matured guru and discusses matters of the scriptures by the rules of his scriptures he has learned before and not talk randomly. In this way, by discussing the abstract science of yoga with the good and great and unavaricious learned, he can attain true wisdom. The man who is so acquainted with the true sense of the scriptures and qualified by his habit of dispassion in the society of holy men shines as the model of intelligence, like yourself. Your liberal mindedness and self reliance, combined with your cool headedness and all other virtues, have set you above the reach of misery and all mental affliction, and also freed you from future reincarnation by your attainment of the liberation in this life. Truly have you become like the autumn sky cleared of its gloomy clouds. You are freed from your worldly cares and you are filled with the best and highest wisdom. He is truly liberated whose mind is freed from the fluctuations of its thoughts and from the lights and fumes of its thickening fancies and ever crowding particulars. Henceforward, all men on earth will try to imitate the noble disposition of the equanimity of your mind, which is devoid of its passions of love and hatred, as also of affection and enmity. Those who conform to the customs of their country and conduct themselves in the ordinary course of man, in their outward demeanor, and cherish their inner sentiments in the close recesses of their bosoms, are reckoned as truly wise and are sure to get over the sin of the world on the floating raft of their wisdom. The meek man who has a spirit of universal toleration, like yours, is worthy of receiving the light of knowledge and of understanding the significance of what I say. Live as long as you have to live in this frail body of yours and keep your passions and feelings under the sway of your reason. Act according to the rules of society and keep your desires under subjection. Enjoy the perfect peace and tranquility of the righteous and wise, and avoid both the cunning of folks like deceivers of others and the silly foolishness of children. Men who imitate the purity of manners and conduct of those who are born with the propriety of goodness also acquire the purity of their lives in the process of time. The man who is habituated in the practice of manners and the modes of life of another person is soon changed to that mode of life, though he be of a different nature or of another species of being. The practices of past lives accompany all mankind in their succeeding births as their preordained destiny. Only by our vigorous efforts are we able to avert our fates, like kings using their greater might to overcome a hostile force. Only those patients, sorry, only through patience does one redeem his good sense. Only by patient effort may one advance to a higher birth from this his low and mean condition. The good have attained better births in life because of their good understanding. Therefore, O Ram, employ yourself polishing your understanding. A God fearing man is possessed of every good and exerts his efforts to attain godliness. Only by manly efforts do men obtain the most precious blessings. Those of the best kind on earth long for their liberation in future, which also requires the exertion of tap and meditation for its attainment. There is nothing in this earth or below or in the heaven of the celestials above which is unattainable to a concerned man through his self efforts. It is impossible for you to obtain the object of your desire without the exercise of your patience and dispassion, and through the exertion of your prowess and austerities of celibacy. Nor is it possible to succeed in anything without the right use of reason. Try to know yourself and do good to all creatures by your courage. Employ your good understanding to drive away all your cares and sorrows. In this way, you will be liberated from all pain and sorrow. O Ram, who is filled with the all admirable qualities and endued with the high power of reason, keep yourself steady in acts of goodness and never may the false cares of this world overtake you in your future life. This much was there in the chapter 62. And with this chapter 62, the whole book 4 of Sthiti Khand completed. And in the book 5, we will take its introduction here only. The book 5 is about dissolution, and we call it Upasana Khand. And in Upasana Khand, the previous section on firm abidance set out the goal of abiding in the Atma. The Upasanti Prakram gives instruction on the ways and means for attaining that goal. The chief obstacle to self-realization is the false identification of the Atma with the body. This is called Dehatmobodh. This false identification is the result of Ahankar or the ego sense. This section gives practical guidance to eliminate one's identification with the ego and describes a number of methods and yogic processes for this purpose. The major ones are inquiry into the true nature of the self, seeing all creation equally as varied manifestation of the one Brahma or God, considering oneself as pure consciousness in all conditions of life and at all times, and performing one's allotted duties in life without any attachment. When, as a result of these practices, a person becomes perfectly unattached to the fruits of actions, all attachments, aversions, and fears disappear, and the person becomes qualified for attaining the Samadhi stage. I will rest this session here itself so that we can take the next session, Book 5, Upasana Khand. Shivoham friends, we will soon meet again.